All right, YouTube, this is 2 Cent back with my 2 cents on OCTOPATH TRAVELER, and today we are talking about allies, which I feel might be a little neglected in the community. I don't see too much out there on them, and this is going to be the 6th allies that I found that I like to keep with me on my parties, especially as I'm finishing the progression of the story and I'm looking at going in maybe to some of the big in-game fights. These are the ones that I want to have on my team, and I'm going to show you where I get them and kind of what they do, and so you can kind of be prepared for when you get to that point if you're not already unlocking these allies through your path actions. All right, the first one we're going to look at is Gwen the Nut Girl, which is, you should be unlocking your nameless town, and you should be going over and getting this quest to get the nut farm anyway. So when you do get her, she's really great because she's going to offer you to be able to purchase 2 medium size of the tasty experience nuts per day, as well as she has this, higher ability that restores front HP. And it's just really nice when I'm like, oh man, I'm just not sure how I want to go into the next round. I know they're going to do a big AoE at the end of this encounter, or this turn, and so I can just bring her out when the turn ends. I get everybody healed back up, just as a way of being able to start the next round in a better spot. So that's why I like to keep her around. The only kind of sad thing about this is that she's only got 2 uses, so you do have to be careful with how often you want to have this. But I do find that it is very helpful, especially if you're trying to sit your healer or something like that to gain back some SP. So definitely recommend bringing her along. The next one is going to be Mid-Tier Noble Servant. This is going to be in Cragspear, just in the general town area. And what I like about this is it does have that restore 40 SP to an ally. And so this comes in real big handy if I'm getting real deep into a fight and I, just can't get my healer to have enough rest because maybe I'm using him out there to do some breaks and some other things. And so this just is a nice little influx that I know, okay, I got a guaranteed way of getting some SP back to get a nice, big heal back out there to kind of help, get me past this little area. So I do like having that. It's kind of a nice way of just making sure that you can either, break a target or have the SP to heal or any of those things. So I do like having at least 1 to 2 allies that have this kind of SP regeneration potential. So along with that, I also like to pick up the Priest Preaching Love. This is also in Cragspear in the church, and it's got SP restore to the entire front of 20. So if I'm just looking like everybody's looking kind of low, I have an option for a single target, and here an option for just everybody on that front to get at least a little bit back to kind of help me get over at least that little edge that you might need to in your combat. Okay, and then we also have Principled Woman, and this one's in the Cragspear as well, but it's in the slums section there. And this is really nice because it has just a single target restore, nice 130 potency. So, different from our Nut Farmer, which was all the front row. This is just singles out to one particular one, and it's got 3 uses. And so I like to use this for the unit that I have on my healer's bar, because my healer typically never gets a chance to heal them. So I can kind of use this if they ever do get low and just kind of top them off to kind of keep that from being a problem. And I've noticed in some of my fights before I had this kind of strategy that they would get really low, and so then I wouldn't be able to switch out my healer to the back to be able to gain back the SP that they needed. And so this kind of helps solve that problem for me. Now here we have Theater Lover, and this is another HP related recovery one. This one is, just a whole front automatic HP recovery over 3 turns. So this is, obviously HP recovery is kind of nice. So I have all different options. I have the one where I'm, just preparing for damage to come out and getting a recovery skill out there. And then I have one that's going to be a single target to kind of boost people up immediately. And then I have the whole front if people are all low that I can use. So I just like having the options for this. And it gives me a lot of different uses in case one of them runs out during, a progression of fights and things like that. So this is over in the Shepherd's Rock area. just in the town. Now, before we get into the 6th and probably my favorite ally to bring along, I do want to make just kind of a statement here that if you're, kind of working on doing XP farming and Kate farming, and your team itself, that doesn't have the capability of being able to break them at, in turn 2 and then defeat them at turn 3, then you also would want to look for an ally that can help you do that. I think that's really important. My team does not struggle with that with my current way of kind of being able to break them down for these chubby Kates. However, you can see there that's what they're kind of weak to. The kind of the dagger, the sword, the axe, the bow. And of course it differs between which Kate it is. But if you're having trouble with that, do pick up one of the allies that would have like a 3-hit for that to kind of help you out. So that's just kind of my little caveat here. That's why I don't have any on the list. If we're talking about that, farming them in general, then yes, you might want to pick one of those allies up. For that. So let's get into the 6th and my favorite ally here, and that would be the Mysterious Dancer, also in Shepherd's Rock in the tavern there. What I really like about this is it raises the physical and the elemental defense, as well as increasing the speed of all your allies on the front by 10% for 3 turns. So I found this is really nice if you're going to be paired to take some big hits, or if that speed is just enough to allow you to get your actions out in the order that you want before maybe the enemy hits you, or your heal out at the right time after. So it's one of those allies that I really enjoy having just to give myself that extra buff. One of the things that I'm missing a lot of my team currently is a buffer. I don't have Lynette. Hopefully maybe get Primrose. So this has just been a nice ally to bring along just to give me a little bit of that for the really big fights. So obviously it's only got 2 uses, so you're not going to use it just willy-nilly, but for those big fights, definitely. And that's been my 2 cents.